Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today in our Interzum Industry Talks. My name is Alexandra Alegría, and I will be your moderator for the webinar today. Interzum Bogotá is the leading trade show for industrial wood processing and furniture manufacturing in Latin America. The exhibition offers a wide range of machinery samples, supplies, and services for the wood processing and furniture manufacturing industry. Interzum Bogotá is the sister trade show for Interzum Cologne in Germany. Interzum Cologne is the world's largest and most important trade show for furniture manufacturing. And for this reason, it has become the benchmark for all other trade shows. For the first time in 2021, Interzum Cologne will be bringing its sister trade show to the Andean region with Interzum Bogotá. For more information on how to participate in Interzum Bogotá, please visit our webpage at interzumbogotá.com. With the experience of trade show organizers, Colmese and Corferias, Interzum Bogotá has become the meeting point of main industry players around the world. And for this reason, and due to the current situation of the world pandemic, Interzum Bogotá has developed a virtual platform called Interzum Bogotá Now, with the main objective of creating a virtual meeting point to share industry content and trends through different conferences and panels with guest speakers from all over the world. In this occasion, we have Dr. Gonzalo Rondinone. He's the Executive Director of FIMA, Argentina's Wood and Wood Products Association. As our guest speaker, Mr. Gonzalo Rondinone will be talking about the economic impact of the world pandemic in the wood forest industry in Latin America. Welcome, Gonzalo, and I turn it now to you.
Thank you, Alexandra. It's a really pleasure for me and for the Federation to be able to present here in Interzum as we did in the last two seminars. So we are really happy to share our view with the world. We have people from all over the world here, so we are really happy to say what we have to say. So if you are okay, we can start with the presentation.
I think can you upload it, Gonzalo? Yes.
Yeah, give me a sec. Okay, can you tell me if we are okay?
Yes, I can see you.
Perfect. So we are going to talk about the economic impact of the world pandemic in the wood and forestry industry, especially in the case of Latin America. First of all, I would like to introduce you to who we are. We are FIMA, the Argentine Federation of Wood and Related Industry, and we are the only second-grade entity that represents the wood industrial sector at the national level. What we mean by second grade? Well, we had 28 wood and related business chambers and 87 years of history. We are the only second grade entity, so that means that all of the business of related like furniture, floors, coatings, sawmills, carpentry, plywood, sheets, construction, fiberboards, all of the wood industry is represented in FIMA. So we have a really great reach, and we know very well what is going on with the wood industry in Argentina. So our main point is being the interlocutor of the forestry industry chain before the civil society, government, and business association. That's what we are in FIMA. So we represent the wood industry before civil society, government, and business association. So what we do? Well, we do training, technical assistance, services, quality and productivity improvement, sector positioning. So our main focus is trying to gauge what is improve everything that's going on. Talking to government, give trainings, being here, all of that is what we do in FIMA. But let's go to our main point of the presentation. The COVID-19 had a tremendous impact on all the economies of all over the world. But the impact of Latin America was huge. As we can see in this chart, this is the impact of the COVID-19 on GDP. This is the growth of selected countries of Latin America as October 2020. Argentina, Peru, Ecuador, Mexico, Colombia, Chile, and Brazil are shown in this chart. As you can see, the impact was huge on all over Latin America, but in selected countries it was bigger. For example, Argentina is showing a 12% decrease in GDP. This is tremendous. Same in Peru, same in Ecuador. Even in Colombia, there's a decrease of 7% in the GDP. You cannot see numbers like this since the 1930. The big crisis of 1930 is the only reference point of a crisis of this amount. And why this is important? Well, GDP is showing what is happening with consumption, investment, trade, export, imports. Everything is resumed here. So a 12% decrease, 6 is tremendous. So that is the starting point, and that was COVID-19 meant in terms of GDP. But also, we need to see what happened with the jobs. As you can see in this chart, the number of job loss during COVID-19 pandemic in Latin America and Caribbean was also astonishing. At least 80 million jobs were lost during this year in Latin America. I will repeat this number. 80 million jobs were lost. Of course, the main concern with this is that these families are no longer able to bring food to the table, are no longer able to buy new furniture. But in terms of our industry, this means that we are facing less demand in terms of national consumption, because this is people that is no longer able to buy our products, construct a new home, improve our furniture. So this is the main focus of this chart here. This is less demand for us. So as Latin America, we need to start seeing what's happening with the war, because if local consumption is not able to give answers, you have to start looking what is happening with the rest of the world, because that is the demand that it will cover what is going on with your country. So this is going to take a lot of time. A job that is lost today, it maybe takes 1, 2, or 3 years to get back that job. So this is going to be a really slow and painful way for Latin America to recover. So as we see, an historic GDP fall, an historic loss of jobs in Latin America. Again, this is happening all over the world, but United States, Europe can recover pretty fast from this. The starting point of Latin America is way behind of them. So this is going to take time. So as we were saying, if local consumption is slow, we need to start looking what happened with the war. And I've made a chart of where we trade as Latin America in the forestry industry, where and who we trade with, because that are the markets that we need to start seeing in order to see where we can get that demand. This is showing where, as Latin America, are sending our products. You can see China, Netherlands, Germany, France, Italy, United States, and even Mexico. We can discuss if it's part of Latin America, of course it is, but it's the main destination of our export. So we need to start looking what is happening with those markets in order to see if the demand is going to pick up and it's going to start slowly getting back on track, because local consumption is going to be slow for the next couple of years. So we need to see what's happening with these countries, and we need to see if these countries are doing well with COVID-19, are doing good with the second wave. As we see, the case of the United States is not good right now. They are in the peaks of the crisis. So we really hope for our industry and for the world well-being, of course. We need to see what's going on with them. Let me show you also why for our industry in Latin America this is important. This chart on the left part of the screen shows you how good was the performance of our industry in terms of export over the last 20 years. We started on the 2000 with a cumulative export of all Latin America countries of 6.5 billion. On 2008, we had 26 billion. It was amazing, our performance of export of all of the forestry industry. It was amazing what we did over the last 20 years. But now that will be hit, because over 2020, we will expect a decline. As a point of reference, you can see what happened on the 2009 and 2010 with the crisis, international crisis, and how export went down, and it took a couple of years to went back to the previous level. We are going to see the same now. It will be a slow process. Over the last 20 years, Brazil has traded a lot with China, Chile with China, Brazil to the United States. That are our top 5. I will introduce some Argentina facts later, why this is important. So something I want that you keep in mind is that international trade will play a key role in the future for our industry, because local consumption will be slow. So as I started my presentation, you knew that I'm from Argentina, we are from Argentina, so I will be talking to you after this brief introduction of Latin America, what was happening in Argentina prior to the COVID, and what we did as Federation during this year to cope with that, to fare with the consequence of COVID. So where was the wood and furniture industry prior to the COVID-19 in Argentina? Well, we were on a huge crisis before COVID-19. 2 followed years of strong falls in the furniture and forestry industry in Argentina, falls of production of 13%, 15%. It was a really big crisis over the last 2 years previous to the COVID-19. This was the starting point of our industry when we were hit by COVID-19. So we were already in a crisis, and a bigger one came. That was the starting point. Of course, this was not only for our industry. The whole industrial production in Argentina was slow over the last couple of years, with jobs were lost. It was not a good situation for industrial production in general. On March, Argentina declared a big national lockdown on the 20th of March. The whole country stopped. It was one of the first countries in the world to establish a big lockdown of the country. On the 20th of March, our president declared that we should go on lockdown. That includes almost all industries too. Our industry was among them, and we saw on March a decline of 20% of the industrial production. That was the largest historical industrial production in a month. So it was really a big crisis for the whole industry. So what we did? Well, as a federation, we need a good and clear picture of what was going on in April. Again, on the 20th of March, the president declared the lockdown, and we need to see what was going on with our industry. Something that is really bad in Argentina, unfortunately, is that we don't have good data. Or if there is data, it comes really, really late. So you cannot do policy with that. We cannot do something for our industry with that, without that. So what we did in April was, okay, we need a really good survey of what was going on. More than 300 of companies in Argentina on the forestry and furniture sector were surveyed regarding the impact of COVID-19 and quarantine as lockdown. The sample covers almost all Argentina provinces, showing the scope of the industrial forestry change. So we did a really big survey during April and March. Let me show you some of the results. On April and March, 60% of the company recorded sales drops on order of 60% or more. Again, 60% of the companies that we surveyed said that they were selling 60% less of the month before. This was the biggest crisis of our industry in 50 years, as our president Roman Queiroz used to say. So yeah, it was really challenging for us. We were not selling anything. Nobody was selling anything, of course. But for our industry, this was a big hit in particular because, as I show you, there was 2 consecutive years of fall. So this was a crisis, a major crisis for us. And especially, yeah, let me tell you this, especially the impact was bigger on companies with a small business. Like said that if your company has 1 to 10 employees, you are a small business. In that companies, the hit was even bigger because you don't have financial buffer, you don't have the gymnastics to deal with this kind of crisis. So those are the people that we needed to help. So the greatest impact was on small and medium-sized companies, and those are the people that we needed to help. So in addition to the commercial impact, people wasn't able to come to our business. We couldn't sell anything. So because as our president and the government said, people need to stay and remain in home in order to improve the health system. So we couldn't sell. But also a financial shock was observed. There was problems of collection of payment and access to financing. So our companies couldn't sell, and also they couldn't go to the financial system and ask for help. There wasn't any help there. So yeah, that was what we need to do. And again, what was kind of the response of the government? Okay, you can turn and sell online because, okay, online you can sell, there is no risk for the customer, for the people. So we went and asked our company what was going on. What was the situation before COVID-19? More 60% of the companies, almost 60% of them, did not sell online before April 2020. And that was the only escape route we had. And it was not available for 60% of them, okay? Yeah, we found a big problem there. We understood that we need to do a much better job on our industry, on how we sell online and how we get those channels ready for the future, not only for now. Yeah, we need it now fast. It wasn't possible, but we need to start thinking over the next 10, 20 years. Everything is going through there. So this was one of the main starting points. We need to tell, we need to teach, we need to preach to our companies, start selling online. Don't hesitate. That is the way. So this is what kind of was the expectation of our industry in April 2020. It is in Spanish. because that was the results of the survey. But believe me that all those words are bad. You can see crisis, disaster, chaotic, recession, bad, pain. Those were the expectation of the sector in April. So, okay, those are the data in April, what we did as federation. Now we have the picture. Now we have the biggest crisis in 50 years for our sector. We need to do something, and we needed to do fast because our company couldn't sell, and they are in a big problem right now. We are in April and March. So what we did, we pulled all the strings we need to pull to let our sector produce. That was the first step. As a federation, we said, hey, we are one of the essential sectors of the economy. You need wood. You need wood for everything. We sit down with the government and we tell them we need to produce, not only for our companies. We need to produce to keep our jobs, and we need to produce to move all of the products. If you need to place some food on a supermarket, you need wood, because to transport all that food, you will need something to store it. You will need a bed. People need to improve their house. So yeah, one of the key points of what we did as federation was to get that approval. On the 6th of April, we get the approval to go back to the factories and start selling and producing again. So yeah, on the 6th of April, we were able to produce again, and that was key. Then as a federation, we decided to do some position with the media. We need to tell to the people and to the government and other business chamber what we found with these numbers. So after we did the sectoral survey, we took those results to the media and to radio and television. And that was really important, because all the important major networks of the country took the results, and we do interviews, we went to the television, we go to the newspaper to tell what was happening and why it was important to focus on our problems. And then we went full on board with trying to see what was the problem and try to fix them with our companies. So they took as many as questions and problems there, because the government started saying, okay, here are the plans, here are the financial help, but business need help to get that help, because sometimes the programs from the government are there, but companies couldn't reach them because they don't know how, to fill the forms, how to ask for that help. And we were there helping all of them to solve their problems. So that was the main plan during April and March. Okay, recap. Big hit in the industry on March. On April, we get the okay, you can start producing again, but not selling as fast as possible, and we didn't get the online channels. So we could produce, but it was still slow. Remember, construction, one of the key demand from our industry, was stopped. So how did the impact continue? Okay, after April, as you can see, it was the dip. This is industrial production year over year. So you can see in April and March, it was the lowest point of the crisis. And then slowly, we began to recover. So April was the lowest point, and then we slowly go up. The whole industry go up, especially ours. Why especially ours? Well, on May, we started to hear from our companies, hey, we are seeing some sales here. We are seeing that people is again asking for our products, and they are asking a lot for our products. May, June, and July, we started seeing a big demand of furniture. What happened? Well, Argentina in particular had one of the longest lockdowns in the world, over 100 days of lockdown. People started working from home, and they realized that, hey, I need better furniture to work here. I need a good desk to work. I need a good chair to sit on my home if I will be working from home all day. So yeah, and they realized that they couldn't spend that money that they used to spend on a restaurant. They couldn't do it. So they got more to spend on key products for the home. So given the extension of the quarantine, they changed the perspective of the consumer regarding their homes. And that was key, the key point that boosted the demand for furniture. That was amazing. Home office dynamic also boosted sales. And of course, Argentina had some macroeconomic dynamics and problems that made the consumers have some surplus and savings that turned to our industry. So as you can see here, the orange line is sales from furniture. They exploded. These are one particular kind of sales made by a government product called Ahora 12 that allows consumers to pay their bills in 12 months. So a consumer can walk into the store virtually, but at that moment they could go to the store and buy some couch, some desk, some chairs, whatever they want to buy, and pay that bill in 12 payments in the next 12 months. So that was really good for us because sometimes buying a chair, buying a new bed, it's not cheap, especially if they are really good. So our consumers took advantage of the programs, and we faced a really good demand that was helping us to recover from the biggest crisis in 50 years. So we saw a demand. That doesn't mean that we are very good. We are better than before, but that was really good for us. So that changed the scope of the problem because now we were seeing demand. In April and March, we were seeing the biggest crisis. Now we're seeing demand. So we said again, hey, something changed here. Something is different. We need to do a new survey because the problem has changed for us. The crisis that we were seeing in March and April is not here anymore. It's different. It's still a crisis, but it's different. So what we did was take again in September the same companies we took before, and we were there to ask new questions, saying there, hey, we need to know the direct impact of the sector. We need to know what is happening in order to take advantage of that and go to the government and say, hey, this is what is happening in our sector. So, yeah, we found two different things. One key was half of the company in September said to us, hey, we're selling much more than in March, compared previous to the pandemic. And half of them said, no, we are still way, way, way behind of that. And that says a lot of the industry in general. The companies that were selling more were especially the furniture one. But those companies that are related to construction, they were really slow still, and especially the companies that are located here in Buenos Aires, because that was the epicenter of the pandemic, and that the lockdown was strict, and construction was not allowed still. So, okay, we understood that we were facing a different problem now. We have half of the federation that is selling better and half that is not, and it was still in a crisis. So how we deal with this, what we do to help these different problems, because the problems, quote unquote, problems of selling more is not really a problem, it's how we made that sustainable. here we have the half of the federation that was still in crisis. So what we do to help them? With the resources we have, time is finite. We don't have an infinite amount of time. So we need to help two different problems with two different solutions. So we ask also the companies, hey, why do you think that sales are going up? What is happening here? Help us to understand. You know your customer. Customer go to your shop. They talk to you. What are you seeing from them? Because why they are buying is key of make that new demand sustainable. It's not the same if they are buying because now there's much more money in the economy than they are buying because they feel that the future is going to be worse and it's better to buy now. So 55% of the companies answered that the customers were improving their homes given the lockdown. So we said, okay, this is a one-shot buying. You buy a new desk, a new chair, because you felt that the previous one is not good enough, but you are going to do that for one. So we need to think how we are going to improve the demand over the next couple of months, because we thought that if this is the reason, this is a demand that's going to be now and not in the future. So that was important to keep an eye of what was going on. And also, we ask again to our companies, hey, are you selling online now? And yes, luckily, the companies adapted really fast to the new environment, and they're starting to sell online much more than in the past. We saw a 15 points increase in the companies that sell online post-pandemic than pre-pandemic. This is really good. We did something as Federation that I want to tell you now, what we did with this. But yes, it was really good that much more companies are now selling online than in the past. Because again, this is the future. This is the first step to get companies with a better marketing, with a better online presence. This is the way. So even in this crisis, the Argentina companies are used to crisis. We have a big crisis every 10 years, so they have a good gym of what to do in those cases. And one of the escape routes this year was, okay, let's go online and sell that way. So even in this crisis, we found something good, that is now companies are selling much more online. But with selling online, there's a new whole set of challenges that arises. It's not easy to sell online. It put a company that is maybe 30 or 40 years old, selling in the same shop with the same customer, doing the same every day. Now they go online, and there's a big difference. When you are online, your shop is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you need to be online that time as well. Maybe you can receive a question of a customer late in the night. You need to get good pictures. You need to showcase your product really well. And now, social media is the same as it was the door of your shop in the past. That is where you talk to your customers, how you talk to them. So now we start asking them, okay, how do you use social media? And what kind of social media do you use? Of course, for our industry, Instagram and Facebook are key, because you can showcase your product there, and you can post a good picture of a couch, of a desk, of a chair, whatever it is. You can post a really good picture there. So this is a new challenge. We need to teach our companies how to work in this new environment. because on social media, one bad comment, one bad answer can blow away all of your lifetime job. You need to be really careful with what you do there. So we ask our companies, who runs your social media? Is you or is a professional company doing it? You hire someone to do that, or is just someone that did this? 80% of them said that employees of the firm runs social media. And most of them, believe me, are members of the family that runs the shop. Because if a teenager of the family use social media, the shop said, okay, you can do it. And it's not that easy. They know that they maybe need help, professional help with social media. And this was one of the focus that we get. We need to help our companies to sell online and how to use social media. And that was what we did from FIMA. We did some virtual classes, teaching courses, whatever they need, to tell them how to use social media. Like, you don't ever engage on a fight with a customer. You always answer your comment on a timely manner. This is the same that attending your shop. This is your door. This is who you are. You need to establish a good online presence. You want to treat all your customers good, even if the question is not related with your shop. You always answer with a smile. Don't engage in a fight. Hire a professional to get your pictures. Showcase everything you can do online, and for that you need help. That's what we did from FIMA. Try to teach them. Try to showing them the way of selling online. We are still really, really behind on that, but this is the first step. I really think that as a federation, we did a good job with that, and we need to keep showing our companies how to do that. And, well, after the peak, this is consumption year over year of the whole economy. We are still really, really behind of last year. But let me show you something that we saw that is really interesting, is that these are the furniture sales. And as we talk on May, June, and July, we saw a big bump in demand. These were the customer coming to our shop and saying, hey, I need a new chair, I need a new couch to be on my house. But as our companies were saying, hey, keep an eye on this, because this is a one-time buy. This is not a new demand. This is not the new norm. And as you can see, in September, August, October, this is not here, but believe me, it's the same number. Demand is still slow, as it was before. We are a little up than in the past, but not those sales that we were seeing on March, on June and July. So the positive shock in sales was clearly observed, as you can see in the chart, but now it's losing some strength. So now we say, okay, we need to do something to keep that demand going. We are talking with the government still, how we can do it. One of the ways, of course, of keeping the demand going is export. But again, export is really hard for us in Argentina. Why? Well, I will need much more than an hour to tell you why exporting in Argentina is hard. But if you have a crisis, big crisis every 10 years, exporting is really hard. Because for the people, the business that buy your things from all over the world, they need stability. They need that they can count on you every month, that you are going to deliver, that you are going to be there for them, because they rely on you to sell your products in other part of the world. And you cannot say to them, this month I won't be able to deliver. Next month I won't be able. Now, yes, I can say, no, those kind of things hurt Argentina export of furniture. So one of the things that we need to do as federation is preach and talk to the government, hey, we need stability in order to export. We all know that export is one of the ways, but we really need help in doing that. And then logistic costs in Argentina are really expensive. That really hurts what we can do. And we, as you can see, we sell a lot to our neighbors, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, and of course, something to the United States. So we have a long way to do in exports in furniture. It is a way, but we really need to work on that. And let me show you something. This is the export of all Latin America countries over the last 5 to 10 years. We are seeing what are the fastest growing export countries in the world between 2015 and 2020. Those are the countries that are growing a lot in export. Tell me if you can see any country of Latin America there. It is extremely difficult for Argentina, but again, it's difficult for all of us who we are here. We need to do a much better work from Latin America to export our furniture, to tell the world we have a good product here. We need to work together as Latin America to showcase our product. And these things like interzum are key to that, are key to showcase what we can do as industry, what we can do as Latin America, to tell the world, here are our products, they are really good, we have an amazing design, and we can sell you something that you can use for a lifetime. Buy us, we can do it. Give us the opportunity to do that. And this is what we are dealing. So we need to do a much better job over the next 5 to 10 years to be on this chart. We need to be on the fastest growing export countries. And for that, we need work. And we need to work together in order to do it. So what are the concluding remarks of our presentation today? I'm not going to tell something new with this, but 2020 was really a tough year. And it was tough for our industry, in particular in Argentina, because again, 2 or 3 years of crisis before of this. And 2020 was a crisis, but also we got some ups and downs, especially for furniture industry. We saw 70% decrease in sales, then we saw a big bump in sales, and now we are going to see the new normal and what that is. And that takes me to a challenge of 2021 as a federation, as an industry. We need to make that temporary sales shock permanent. So that is a discussion we need to make. So what are we going to do as federation, and talking to government and engagement with them to how we improve demand, not as one shot, but as forever? Well, that is our job. We need to position Argentine furniture with a design. We need to tell our customers, hey, this is Argentinian job. Buy our products. They have a good design. We can give you the best customer experience. You are going to enjoy our products, and we will be there for you all of the process. We need to promote good construction, something that we do a lot in the federation, and I couldn't put it today in the presentation because it was far away of the scope of the presentation, but we need to promote good construction. Tell all the people that construct, hey, use much more wood. It's good for the environment. It's really good for climate change, because once you demand, wood is a new tree that is being planted today, and that is really going to help the environment. And we need to keep doing a really good with positioning with the media, and tell all the Argentinian people and the world that this is a good sector to invest and try to promote our export too. So something that I'd like to take away from our companies, and now we are closing the year, and I have an internal presentation with our companies, and that this is what I'm going to tell them. Hey, it was amazing what we did this year, especially those within the factories, the owners. Almost no jobs were lost in the sector this year, and that is amazing. The sector was able to absorb the negative shock quickly and respond. The companies adapted their protocols, sales channels, and prioritized consumer demand. So it was really amazing what we did. In March, it looks like the end of the world. Now we are in a different place. We're starting to look 2021 as an opportunity, and really left behind those 2 or 3 years of crisis and starting to think on a much bigger industry for Argentina and for the world. So with that, I think that's all. I will leave you with my email. I would really like to hear from you whenever you want. And Alexandra, all of you.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Thank you, Gonzalo, for your presentation. And thank you, all of you. We've been receiving some questions, so thank you for sharing them in the chat. I will begin reading them to you, Gonzalo. The first question that we got is, Argentina has the largest experience in the use of wood for house construction in South America. What is your opinion for increase the use of wood in construction in Colombia?
Okay, that's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. Wood construction is really important for us. What we face that problem with not that problem, but that with a strategic plan. We really need to engage on a two-dimension plan. One, we need to talk to the government. Why we need to talk to the government? Because they need to understand that this is one of the ways of solving housing crisis in Latin America. Because the government will need to provide finances to do that. They need to provide money. They need to provide not only money, but the marketing to tell all the society, hey, it's important to construct with wood. So first step, you need to engage the government with this. Go and knock all the doors you can and tell the people this is the way to go moving forward. And believe me, you're going to get a good response with it, because as I was saying in my last chart, constructing with wood is good for the environment, and you need to take advantage of that. We are living in a moment where climate change is one of the challenges, and wood can help with that. We need to tell the people and the government, this is helping the environment, this is helping the planet. Use wood to construct, because that means new planted trees. So that one exists. Then you really need to engage and teach the people who work with that, like an architect, like constructors. You need to tell them, this is something you can use. This is something cheaper. This is fast. So you need to engage with that community. And that means, for example, go to the universities. Go to the universities and talk with the professionals. Go to teachers. Hey, we can do a presentation here. We can tell all the students how the properties of wood, how you construct with that. Why it's faster? Why it's cheaper? For example, in Argentina, we have one of the better and most efficient with German technology, of course, of wood construction. You can do an amazing house, believe me, an amazing house in 3 or 4 weeks. 3 or 4 weeks. Can solve a housing crisis in less than a month. We are the only industry that can give that answer. No one else can. And believe me, we have parts of the country with 40 or 50% of housing crisis. This is one of the fastest answers to that. Traditional construction methods cannot give that answer that fast. They need maybe a year or a year and a half. So in order to translate that experience to Colombia, that would be the two dimensions plan I would think in terms of strategic. Okay, go to talk to the government and talk to the people that really take the decision to construct.
Okay, thank you, Gonzalo. We have another question. I think you might have answered this, or you have actually in your presentation, but just to sum up, the forestry industry is expected to experience a mixed demand as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak. Which wood products are expected to increase, or do you have any information on current wood product trends?
Yeah, definitely. We are seeing a lot of demand from sawmills. Yeah, we saw a big increase in export in that trend, and also furniture too, because now, again, I said our experience here in Argentina because that's what we saw every day, but this is happening all over the world. People are changing their homes. Home office dynamics are here to stay. Companies all over the world are discussing, hey, do we need a big office, or maybe people are going to stay home, or maybe we can do a mix between 3 days a week in an office and 2 home office. This is a discussion that's going on all over the world. But if people are going to stay at home for work too, they need a good environment. They need a good desk. They need a good chair. They need a good internet connection. They need a good space to work. And that is going to be a new demand and a new trend. So we have some companies here in Argentina that are really working hard on thinking how will be the future of the furniture industry in order to give an answer to that new demand. Because it's not the same, because again, for example, not all the people have a big house. Maybe you live in an apartment. So you need a functional furniture that maybe give a response to 2 or 3 or 4 functions, something for work, something for leisure. So you need to start thinking creatively how you're going to answer to that new problem. So we have people that are thinking on that, maybe 10 or 20 years ahead. But on today, I can tell you that we are seeing a big increase from the sawmills, that people need wood. But okay, that's a challenge for us as a federation too, because maybe you want that export go with much value added in terms of furniture and not the good product itself. But it's good we are seeing that kind of demand.
Okay, Gonzalo, I have another question coming in. It says, what changes do you expect to see in the forestry and wood products industry over the next few years? I guess after the world pandemic.
I don't expect much change in terms of production. We are an industry that is really hard to change to home office, for example. That is really hard. I don't expect much change on the way we produce. But yeah, I see some changes for maybe promoting energy that comes from wood, that is really picking up in Argentina, and that again helps the environment. We are seeing some investment on the north part of the country that are using some waste, quote unquote, waste from the wood, and they turn into energy. That is something that is picking up, and I think that is one of the way. And then promoting good construction is the trend that we are really seeing here. We are getting really good responses again here in Argentina. I know that in other parts of the world maybe it's different, but at least for the forestry industry in Argentina, that is one of the ways. And then something that is really important for us, we are seeing some investment on the paper side, because more paper means more demand for us, and that will need more more good again. And lastly, I think that a lot of the sawmills that are in FIMA, they really need to invest in technology. They really need, I think that is going to be one of the trends. We are starting to see, hey, Gonzalo, is there any way we can finance the new machine? Is there any way that we can produce faster? Because I'm seeing demand from the export side, and I need to produce faster. And again, our sawmills are really back on technology compared to Colombia, Brazil, to Chile even. And that is a trend, and I'm starting to see some investment on getting more productivity. So I think that's some of the question. But we have a lot of challenges as industry in the next couple of years for sure.
Okay, thank you, Gonzalo. I will read 2 more questions, and then since we're running out of time, we can send the answers to the ones that we have kept unanswered to all of you who have registered. 1 more question. It says, how is the current situation for recycled wood? Recycled wood.
Yeah, for that, I will please send me an email to my email that I will put in the next slide, because I have some specific information that I would like to send. That's not my area specific on the federation, but I will point you to our expert on that answer. So I prefer to send you the good information about that.
That's perfect, Gonzalo. Okay, the last one, it says, on a broader level, how do you feel timber products need to evolve or change in order to meet the growing demand? Timber products.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question, and a broad one. Again, I think that teaching and using the media on our side is important. To, at least here in Argentina, we face the question that our sector is bad for the environment. That is something we deal every day. And that's not true. Simply, that's not true. But we are not going to do anything if we don't tell the people that that's not true. Because we know that's not true, that we are good for the environment. But if people believe others so, okay, we need to convince them. We need to talk to them. We need to explain them. Hey, if you use our products, that means more trees planted, and those trees do a good job for the environment. And that, I think, is something that is going to boost demand. And as we saw in the economic theory, more demand will create new supply. So if you see much more demand, more sawmills will be there, more planted street will be there, more timber products will be there. So we need to guarantee to make sure that demand will be there for a long time, and investment will follow for sure. But we need to do a good job engaging the people in this discussion, talking with government, talking with architects, doing that kind of slow job, but it eventually will pay off for the whole industry.
Thank you, Gonzalo. And as I mentioned, we are running out of time. So I want to thank you all for participating in today's webinar. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalo, for your conference. It was very interesting. We really hope you all have enjoyed it. To rewatch this conference as well as other ones that we had in the past weeks, please visit our webpage, interzumbogotá.com. There you can also find information on our contact information and our team for Interzum Bogotá. So please do check our webpage for this recording and the trade show information. Thank you again, and we hope you have a great day. Thank you, Gonzalo.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.